These missiles were launched from Iranian territory, likely from the area around Tehran and other strategic missile bases, and were aimed at several Israeli military facilities and urban centers, such as Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. For this, Iran used hypersonic missiles to attack Israel, launching about 100 ballistic missiles and drones, including hypersonic variants and multiple salvos. This was a retaliatory strike after massive Israeli airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and military facilities. Let's assume the air defense intercepted 90% of the projectiles, and even if only 10% got through, the damage could still be devastating. A single ballistic missile warhead is capable of destroying an entire city block, as we've seen in previous strikes on Tel Aviv. Unlike previous missile attacks, the strikes in June 2025 made extensive use of RAI drones alongside ballistic missiles to overload and complicate the work of Israel's air defense. During the initial retaliatory strike, more than 100 Shahed drones were launched. Some of them were intercepted over the airspace of both Jordan and Saudi Arabia, indicating a more complex multi-domain attack strategy. The truth is that Israel would not have been able to intercept all the missiles without the intervention of the United States of America. So how did this happen? The United States Navy destroyer Thomas Hudner, stationed in the Eastern Mediterranean, actively participated in the combat operations and shot down Iranian missiles heading toward Israel. Another destroyer was moved closer to be on combat readiness in case the White House requested it. American fighter jets also patrolled the skies over the Middle East to protect American personnel and facilities amid rising tensions. These American forces operated in coordination with Israeli missile defense systems such as Iron Dome and Arrow. Let's explain why Iran launched missiles and drones at different time intervals, since these drones usually reach speeds of about 185 kilometers per hour. For comparison, the speed of a cruise missile is about 800 kilometers per hour. The speed of a ballistic missile, on the other hand, is approximately 6,170 kilometers per hour. This is an exceptionally high speed, and as a result, it will quickly catch up with the previous target. So, to sum up, when the drones reach their designated target, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles will ultimately hit their targets almost simultaneously. Iran used variants of the Shahab-Three ballistic missile in its latest attack on Israel. The Shahab-Three is the basis for all Iranian medium-range ballistic missiles and uses liquid fuel. This missile can carry a warhead weighing from 760 to 1,200 kilograms. How does it work? Step 1. The missile is set at a 90-degree angle and then launched. Step 2. The trajectory of a ballistic missile takes it beyond or near the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Step 3. The warhead separates from the missile that carried it into the air and re-enters the atmosphere, descending toward the target. Step 4. The missile can carry one or several warheads depending on the variant. The warhead separates from the single-stage missile after it has traveled more than half the distance to the target. The most common variants of the Shahab missile had a probable circular error of 300 to 450 meters. This means that 50% of the missiles fired at a target would land within a circle of that diameter. But how was Iran's deployment of missiles different from previous attacks on Israel? In June 2025, Iran launched more than 100 ballistic missiles and more than 100 drones in several waves. But in October 2024, about 200 missiles were launched, but they were not high-caliber ballistic weapons. And they were distributed over fewer waves and with fewer drones. The 2024 operation was focused on 3 military sites, such as the Nevatim Air Base near Be'er Sheva and the Tel Nof Air Base, which house Israeli fighter jets. F-35S worth $1 billion and other valuable assets. Additional targets included the Hatzerim Air Base in the Negev Desert and the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. We look at how the FATAH missiles managed to penetrate the Israeli air defense system. We need to understand how the missile works. The missile defense system consists of three main parts: the missile launcher, the Green Pine radar antenna, and the Arrow missile. The missile launch unit consists of 6 launch tubes, each containing a missile ready to be launched. Located at the rear of a 2-axle trailer, each launch unit, when fully loaded with 6 launch tubes containing ready-to-launch missiles, weighs 35 tons. The radar serves as both an early warning and fire control radar for the TRI missile defense system. It plays a crucial role in target detection and guidance, operating like a 2-stage missile. Let's take a look inside this engineering technology. These are solid fuel rocket engines and boosters. At the top of the rocket is the ignition chamber, which, when activated, starts the process of burning the solid fuel. This fuel isn't just some random substance, it's a carefully engineered mixture of fuel and oxidizer that is poured into the casing and then solidifies. This mixture is enclosed in a protective shell called the engine casing. In the center of the rocket, there's a fuel combustion chamber. Here, the solid fuel and oxidizer react, producing gases with an incredibly high combustion temperature. These help the rocket take off from the Earth's surface at an incredible speed. Moving further ahead, the most important part of the rocket is the warhead, which can be divided into 3 main parts. The second stage is the propulsion system with a nozzle featuring thrust vector control. Just above is the warhead, a directional high explosive fragmentation warhead weighing 150 kilograms. The third stage is the homing head, which can turn to track the target. But what is the special feature of this long-range missile defense system? Let's start with the propulsion system, the famous TSAAT. The Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System uses flight control engines. Compared to the TRI warhead, which uses thrust vector control nozzles and a solid fuel rocket, it has a shorter and more limited burn time. It has several advantages, one of which is the ability to compensate for insufficient radar accuracy when the radar sends the interceptor to an inaccurate target location. The TRI warhead can adjust its trajectory. Since intercontinental ballistic missiles travel at very high speeds, the warhead must adjust its trajectory based on newer and more accurate radar data from its seeker. The inability to completely change course to a new target will result in a failed interception. Now let's see how the Israeli defense system works. The Israeli defense system consists of 3 layers. The first layer is the Arrow-3 long-range missile defense system, which was specifically developed with Iranian missiles in mind. Each of these system missiles costs several $millions and can intercept missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere, providing enhanced protection. The second layer of defense is the so-called David Sling system, designed to destroy missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles. Finally, the Iron Dome system stops most short-range rocket attacks in Israel. Let's see why the Iron Dome was not able to intercept the Iranian ballistic missiles. Besides discussing the multi-layered missile defense system, the Iron Dome system itself has a range of about 65 kilometers. And the David Sling system can intercept ballistic missiles at a range of up to 290 kilometers. The highest level of missile defense systems can engage targets at a distance of up to 2,400 kilometers. According to reports, 180 ballistic missiles were launched, which, according to claims by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, may be hypersonic. Although the missile defense system successfully intercepted many missiles before they reached Israel, many still got through. The main problem that led to the interception failure occurred after the device separated from the launcher. The device can change its trajectory multiple times, which confused the missiles. This maneuver also allowed it to bypass the David Sling system and ultimately the Iron Dome system, which is not designed to counter hypersonic missiles like the FATAH-2 model. As a result, the interceptor missed its targets, and the device could land on military bases where F-35 fighter jets worth $100 million were stationed. But this information needs to be confirmed. Let's look at the financial consequences of a single day of missile strikes. Iran spent more than $200 million on launching ballistic missiles and drones, while Israel's air defense spent $1 billion on its protection. This includes a missile that costs about $2.5 million. The production of a David's Sling missile costs about $1 million, and the cost of an Iron Dome missile ranges from $20,000 to $100,000 depending on the configuration. For comparison, Iranian ballistic missiles cost about $200,000 each, and unmanned aerial vehicles range from $20,000 to $50,000 each. Friends, be sure to subscribe to this channel and click the bell. And don't forget to leave a like if you want to support the work of this channel. You can do this by making any donation using the links and details in the description of this video, or by using the quick response code you see on your screens. I would appreciate your support. To be continued.